Alright, as we begin this drawing, the main thing is we are looking for shapes. The first is this very large ellipse that comes from the colander in the middle of the scene. Looking out at the still life, or even on the photo of the still life, it might not seem like it, but that large opening on the top is just about the same as the height of the lower part. So measure using your pencil or a knitting needle, but comparing the sizes of objects is going to help out a lot. That vertical line is just a way for me to keep track of where the center of this colander is, so I can line up the ellipse at the bottom, or ellipses at the bottom. That small ellipse in between the other two, where the top of the colander meets the base, it's a little on the small side. Adjustments are slowly made as I work on this drawing more and more, but in hindsight, it is definitely small. Again, compare heights and widths of objects. This will help you with placement. You'll notice as we go along that my placements aren't exact. I've got probably too much of a gap between the cup and the colander. It's not a big deal. We're not trying for photorealism. You're not being tested on 100% accuracy. I want it to be close, but it doesn't have to be perfect. The scale of objects should be very close as well. If that cup was the size of the colander, there would be some clear issues. So definitely pay attention to the sizes of things. Also notice as I go, you'll see me correcting shapes. Definitely make sure you're correcting your shapes. If you see a problem, fix it before moving on. And also, extra lines don't matter. Notice there's all kinds of extra lines all over mine. If it becomes confusing, I will erase extra lines, and also just draw right over the top of other things. That tomato out in front of the cup, I just draw right through it. Don't worry about, oh no, I'm drawing over something. Just do so. Ultimately, that's the only way you're really going to get the shapes correctly. Again, those extra lines can be erased later. They'll be blended away. All kinds of things will change. But just draw right through things. Again, let me point out, this isn't about being a photorealist. This is just about translating what you see onto your paper. people are going to see these things in different ways. We want to, if nothing else, convince our reviewers that we were observing what's there. But some things are going to be slightly different in shape, slightly different in size. There are people who do photorealism, and it's great. They can do some amazing things. I'm not expecting it from you. I don't, I'm not concerned with it within my own work. As someone with ADHD, I don't have the capacity to try to make all of my artwork look like photographs. I don't have the patience for it. I don't have the time for it. People who do photorealism might spend a month or more on a single piece, and that doesn't even remotely interest me. So just be aware, what we are trying to do is capture basically the essence of these objects. And the start of this drawing, just keep it all nice and loose. Again, extra lines don't matter. I can't express that enough. You will see other artists talk about how everything should be precise and clean and no extra lines and nothing should look sketchy, and that's all stuff that should be right from the start. And quite honestly, I don't know how they approach things like that. That would drive me insane. Spending 10 minutes on a single shape trying to get it perfect just to me seems like a recipe for, again, insanity. So notice even that cup just now, I'm going back and I'm correcting things. The ellipse wasn't right, so I go back and correct it. That means there will be extra lines, but ultimately as we move forward you'll see how those lines really don't matter. They will go away in a variety of ways. Just some extra thoughts here real quick. As long as your ellipses look correct, in other words, they're not egg-shaped, they don't have pointy ends, your cup's not quite the right size, nobody's gonna know. I will know because I'm your instructor and I'm looking at the photograph you're working from or whatever right along with you, but I'm not worried about exactness. But all of these organic shapes, these tomatoes, the garlic, those leaves, as long as you get across the idea of those objects, nobody's ever going to know if they're perfect. And so that doesn't really matter. What ultimately matters is that you're convincing your viewer that your objects, your shapes, are what were there. And a lot of that's going to come through with the shading. And again, if you're drawing man-made things, making sure those ellipses are correct. And as long as you don't have weird scale issues, again, that cup is much smaller. It's like a third size, maybe even less, of the colander. If the coffee cup was as big as the colander, your viewers are going to look at your art and be like, what is going on here? All that said, let's talk about those grapes for a second. Again, as someone with ADHD, I am never going to draw in all of those grapes exactly as they are. It would drive me insane. And so I do counts, like how many grapes from this area to this area. I did get ahead of myself and just started filling in grapes, and notice that I go back and erase a few because they just weren't what's there. They didn't look right. But yeah, there are times, like, details of things. If you do like a basic count, like how many grapes from here to here, what their general size is, you should be okay. You start learning to just make it look correct. It doesn't have to actually be a perfect number. Again, we're convincing people that we've really observed what's there. So, unless you're into photorealism, in which case you've got a lot of extra work to do. So speaking of counting things, a lot of that kind of happens with these flowers. I'm not concerned about how many petals are actually on this flower. As long as you have each of those petals the right shape and size, and you do a basic count, like how many petals should be from this area to this area, you'll be fine. Nobody's going to go be like, oh, that's not the right number of petals. And I did forget the solitary garlic down on the bottom.